Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here, and welcome to the very first episode of Wizard Watch. This is a new series brought to the channel where basically, in a nutshell, we're going to break down the major talking points from the major shows. Of course, today starting off with Smackdown, and we're also going to cover Raw. Now, down the line on this channel, we might cover more. We might cover AEW in its entirety and also NXT. But to start with, we're going to begin with Smackdown and Raw on a consistent basis, and basically it's just going to be 5 top moments that are my personal picks. And again, get down in the comments section, share your thoughts and opinions, what moments stood out to you. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to kick things off with number 5, again in no particular order, Gunther versus Braun Strowman. Absolutely loved this slobber knocker of a match. Okay, not the world's greatest match. It wasn't certainly Gunther versus Sheamus, which I had the pleasure to watch at Clash at the Castle. But one thing that stands out to me in all this is WWE are just making a major deal of the IC title. They're giving it relevance again. And I have to go all the way back to like 2003 when Randy Orton had the legend killer gimmick, and he had that dominant run which went on for about 6, maybe 7 months until he dropped the title, of course, to Edge, and then went on to win the world title against Chris Benoit at SummerSlam 2004. But now the IC title has relevance, and Gunther is looking like a dominant champion. I was skeptical when he had the name change from Walter to Gunther, but how wrong could I be? Of course, Imperium back in full force and loving every second of it. And not for 1 second did they damage Braun Strowman. They did mention the whole shoulder injury, the fact that Imperium and Gunther have been attacking brutally Braun Strowman over the last couple of weeks. And so this match didn't dent him. And yes, there was a dodgy powerbomb to finish things up, but they can easily have a rematch here. And this protects both of them in a way, really, because Braun kind of had an injury going in. He's certainly not going to be buried by any means, losing to Gunther. He's pretty much beaten everyone in the mid-card title scene. And he continues this dominance, and I'm all for it, because Gunther, I've got to be honest, is probably one of my top 5 wrestlers at the moment on the roster. I think he's an absolute weapon, and kudos to the shape he's got in as well. Like, from where he was as Walter, like, thumbs up. Now, top moment number 4, I'm going to go for the Rey Mysterio storyline. I love the fact he come out and cut a raw and real promo and basically said he was trying to get away from things, have a fresh start, and that's why he moved to SmackDown. And he made his intent very clear. He wants to go in the Royal Rumble and he wants to win it. And let's not forget, Rey Mysterio has won the Royal Rumble in 2006, of course. Won the Royal Rumble and went on to WrestleMania to win the big one. Typical babyface Royal Rumble winner, and then goes on and wins the gold on the grandest stage of them all. And just as you thought he was getting somewhere, of course, Karrion Kross and Scarlett came out and interrupted. And Karrion Kross, I'm liking the presentation. I'm liking his mission. The fact that he's been waiting, literally drooling like a dog for this feud with Rey Mysterio, to break Rey Mysterio. And I love the fact he brought up his Royal Rumble win and sort of touched on the family situation at the moment as well. Said that he probably wasn't there for Dominic Mysterio at that time. Of course, who could forget the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio storyline, of course, involving Dominic all those years ago, which, by the way, I'm probably going to sound like a dinosaur. Seems like yesterday, doesn't it, from that? And I'm loving this arc because we know it's a double storyline. You're going to get Kross sort of costing Mysterio, but at the same time, we're going to get a dynamic between Mysterio, both the Mysterios in Rey and Dominic at the Royal Rumble. I'm sure of it. And maybe those two face off at WrestleMania. I'd book it. I'd certainly like to see that on the card for sure. So that's definitely one of my top moments of SmackDown. Kross looking strong. I think having Scarlett alongside him now upon his WWE return, he looks like the real deal. Coming in at number 3, of course, the Bray Wyatt segment. Now, we are going to cover this segment in way more detail. So an hour after Wizard Watch every week, there will be Wyatt Watch, where we will break down in detail the Bray Wyatt segment. But in a nutshell, this was brilliant. This is basically Bray Wyatt teasing the Fiend and stating the fact that he is Bray Wyatt, as in he is everything. He is Uncle Howdy. He is the Eater of Worlds, the cult leader Bray. He is him, i.e. the Fiend. And so, yes, we're going to have to wait until the Royal Rumble to see all of this play out, but it's going to be worth it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Fiend re-emerge at the Royal Rumble. And it seems like Bray Wyatt was literally all along everything. He's just a servant and he goes where the circle takes him. And if that takes him all the way back to the start, where he could sort of flick between the separate gimmicks, I'm all down for it. I think this is going to be absolutely awesome. But as I said, we're going to cover this in way more detail in the next video. Moment number 2. I know you probably think, why is this in your top 5? But I kind of liked the dynamic between Raquel and Liv. The fact that Raquel was kind of making fun of Liv Morgan for wanting to go in as number 1 in the Royal Rumble, basically calls her mad, and those two had a match. And I like this because this serves a double purpose. This gets Raquel back on track, getting her a victory. That Ronda kind of feud didn't really do her the world of good, and that establishes her as a main event player, which I believe she is. And I believe a few tweaks to her gimmick and her presentation, she could be an absolute weapon and a force to be reckoned with in 2023. At the same time, you know something big is going to happen with Liv Morgan. I think she's going to have a huge show at this year's Royal Rumble. She's going to get quite far. I don't think she's going to win it, but I think she's going to have like a major play in this Royal Rumble, this up and coming Royal Rumble, which is only 2 weeks away. Can you believe it? It's going to be an all-nighter for me and of course us UK fans along the way. And finally, coming in at number 1, again it's in no particular order, the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match. And I love this because there's so much playing on this with the Bloodline storyline, and the Bloodline got involved in this match, and seemingly against Sami Zayn's wishes. He feels that he can get the job done, and after all, if it weren't for Sami Zayn, the Bloodline would not have been victorious at Survivor Series War Games. So you can understand he's got this conflict in his mind that he's loyal to the Bloodline, but in a way doesn't really need him, especially against someone he knows better than anyone in Kevin Owens. I like the fact that they're advertising a lot, of course, the Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns title match at the Royal Rumble as well, where something big is going to go down there as well. I think we're going to get major answers. Could WWE do the unthinkable and drop the titles? Roman dropped the titles. I don't think it's going to happen. I truly believe we're going to see The Rock at the Royal Rumble, and we're going to get Rock Roman, the dream mouth-watering match that we've wanted for so long. But along the way, I can see Sami Zayn being the one that swerves the Bloodline. You will think that the Bloodline are just going to turn on Sami Zayn and that's it. I'd love to see it the other way. And you've got the ultimate babyface in Sami Zayn. And let's talk about how far Sami Zayn has come in the last year. I mean, he was taking on Johnny Knoxville in a Jackass match. And now look at him. Like, we're even putting him in the conversation as to being one of the ones that could dethrone Roman Reigns. And imagine, I'd love it if Sami Zayn won the Royal Rumble. I really would. And I'm all for it as this continues. Now, to wrap up the show, overall grade I'm going to give this show, I'm going to give it a B-. It wasn't like groundbreaking. You got to remember, we're only 2 weeks away from the Rumble, so it's got to heat up a little bit more, I think. But you got to remember, they've already established a lot of long-term stories in the making to this date, so it's all going to play out. I mean, look at the Wyatt storyline. That's been like, what, 4 months now? The Bloodline storyline has literally been years. And, of course, you've got all these fresh dynamics around that as well. So I'm pumped for the Rumble. Can't wait to see what happens. As always, be really appreciative if you could like the video, share the video, even better, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll actually see you in an hour in Wyatt Watch. See you soon.